So one of the things that I usually do with my calves when they're little for the registered Herefords is tattoo them before they get too big. Many people believe that tattooing cattle is an outdated source of identification because a lot of producers use RFID tags, and in order to send animals through auctions, they have to have those RFID tags, so a lot of producers will just put them in their ear right off the bat. Many registration associations will require tattoos as the permanent form of identification for those animals and will not recognize RFID tags as permanent forms of ID. I know for the Hereford Association, I have been tattooing my cattle for over 25 years now. So if you've been following along, you know that I have a 5-day-old calf and a 2-day-old calf, and typically I will only tattoo my calves if I know that I'm going to register them. So the heifer, which was born on Friday last week, is definitely getting a tattoo today, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to tattoo this bull because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him yet. It's much easier for me if I tattoo them when they're little because they don't fight as much, and then the traumatic experience most likely is forgotten once they get a little bit older. Every farm typically has their own method of tattooing with what numbers and letters correlate with which animal. My herd identification is KLH across the board for all of my animals. So one tattoo in all of their ears is KLH because those were my initials when I started raising Herefords. The other ear is the individual identification number of that animal, and the Hereford Association recommends that it correlates with the year that they are born. This year is the letter L. So all of my calves that have born thus far this year have an individual identification number starting with L. And for my instance, because I don't have that many calves, it just goes in sequential numbers. So the first calf that was born at the end of January last year was L1. The next registered calf after that was born the end of June, so his is L2. This heifer is going to be L4. The calf that died at the end of August doesn't get a number because it passed in birth. So the first order of business when tattooing animals is to ensure that the ears are properly cleaned. Here I am using rubbing alcohol to remove any wax buildup, plaster, and grime. I then put a layer of tattoo ink on the ear prior to placing the tattoo. I compress the tattoo gun against their ear, very much like pliers, release the gun, and reapply another layer of ink. I then use a toothbrush to ensure that the ink gets into every hole made by the gun. I did the right ear on both animals first because that is where the herd ID goes, which are my initials. The left ear is where the individual identification number is placed. I did the heifers first with L4. Prior to placing the individual ID into the ear, I always verify that it is correct by tattooing a piece of paper to double check. Very similar to measure twice, cut once. Once a tattoo is placed in the ear of the animal, you cannot undo it. And that is that. I am going to leave them in front of the headlocks for a little bit. Before we leave, I will put them back in with the cows. The reason I want to keep them separate for a little bit is to give that ink a little bit of time to dry because the moms will absolutely go ham on licking those ears clean. So I used a toothbrush to help get the ink inside of the holes that the tattooer created. And now I'm going to go wash and sanitize the tattoo supplies.